Davey's back.
Barely.
Hey.
Not well.
He's wearing his Team
My-
Penske swag.
My
Of course.
entire body hurts.
Just like a lot of race car drivers.
Yeah.
Ew.
I didn't
Got
hit
him.
anything though, so that's the difference.
Yeah.
I don't have a cold open. Just want to say being sick sucks.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped coughing since last week.
Davey's cold open is the cold that he has right now.
Correct. I don't know why colds knock me out so much. I don't know. I bought vitamins this weekend, so
Yeah, boost your immune system.
yeah, I guess so.
But
Davey was sick, but you know what else is sick? I did some serious trophy hunting this week. That's right. I raced a triple header for BMX, P2 on Friday, P3 state qualifier on Saturday,
yeah,
P3 state championships on Sunday.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
Piling up the hardware.
That's my dog right there.
Yeah.
That's why we
I didn't-
sponsor him.
Yeah, well, I also officially got picked up by a team, so now
Hell
I'm
yeah.
sponsored for real now. So,
What is that supposed to mean?
well,
I
I
guess
get a
our
discount.
Our support wasn't enough, Davey.
Well, if I buy a Mongoose BMX bike, I get like a lot of money off of it. So,
This is a fair point.
Congratulations. Yeah, but see the sponsorship. It got you
blocked by my Bluetooth speaker.
It got you
No.
the mug with a handle on it.
No.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, right? The sponsorship doesn't get you the mug; it gets you the handle.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
true. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's why I don't have one.
It's still the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
That's awesome.
I went,
Racing is cool.
I think I posted the video. I went from P5 to third in the final straightaway, though.
Who cares?
Okay.
Damn
So,
right.
I was like, hell yeah. So,
That's
it was
just-
fun, though.
You are him.
It's me.
Got that dog in you.
Yeah, I do.
Woof woof.
That dog in them.
Anyways, we have a lot to talk about this week, so we're gonna shove the pleasantries aside. This is the Fake Racers podcast, folks. Cannot thank you enough for watching. As always, I'm Joe Twansky. To my left is Mr. Davey Hazard,
Unfortunately.
and down below is Mr. Matthew Steelman.
Fortunately.
And we are gonna take you through to our best knowledge. All the I almost said bad word. That was not good. All the crazy stuff that happened this past weekend, because Texas was wild. There were no limits to the amount of catastrophes. I actually have every single one that I remember in our show sheet.
Right.
I have some interviews.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's start with Kyle Busch, because Kyle Busch has been the story of the summer. It's probably not the biggest exit after the first round. I think that probably goes to Kevin Harvick, maybe Tyler Reddick now after this last weekend. But Kyle Busch has a very cheeky interview post-race.
As per usual.
Couple little pokes and prods about looking forward to 2023. Thought that was pretty funny. Thanks his team and stuff too, which, you know, I think that's
You're
good
gonna do.
too.
Yeah.
But it's the mannerisms in which he's doing it, because it's more like he's thanking like his individual crew guys. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of
More-
Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah.
That
Like,
makes
you
sense.
guys have been working on my cars and giving me good stuff. Like, screw the guy up top calling all the shots.
Yeah, basically.
So.
You could tell. You could tell it's very pointed.
But so
It doesn't stop there, though.
No, because then another Joe Gibbs Racing driver had issues. He actually had an issue before Kyle and had an issue after Kyle. Martin Truex Jr. lost a tire. He continues his crusade against the next-gen car. Started last week with flipping it off, which is probably all-time clip. It continues this week with probably
Admittedly funny.
some more comments about how bad the car is. Alex Bowman had a pretty big tire blow and hit the wall pretty hard.
Every goddamn year, dude. Every year this happens to this team. Oh my god.
Maybe if you're just better throughout the year
I
and you
hate
actually
it
accumulate
so
playoff
much.
points, you wouldn't be in
Shut
this
up.
situation.
Shut up.
It was
Shut
literally like as soon as he made it through the first round, I was like, he's gonna blow a tire at some point in this next round, and it's happened like 5 years in a row for this team.
Yeah. The worst part is too, like you look at that final round for Alex Bowman in particular. He won at Vegas earlier this year. He's had decent results at Homestead. He won Martinsville last year. Like pretty decent tracks. For the 48 team, so it's gonna be a gruesome battle here these next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because Bowman, I think he's improved his road course racing this year, but I still don't think he's gonna be in like win mode.
Anyway, but it doesn't stop there.
Oh, it doesn't. Christopher Bell had 2 issues. More likely that the second issue was caused by the first time he went around, but nonetheless. There were also power steering problems. I forgot to put them on the list. Bubba Wallace had his power steering go out early. Again, 2 weeks in a row, this time at Texas. Cody Ware had a horrific hit.
Yeah, that was bad.
Big.
Probably the most crumpled next-gen car I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Which is saying something, because, again, we've talked about it. The car is rigid at AF, as the kids would say.
Yeah. It's something I noticed about that wreck too. Like, I don't know, maybe it was just the angle he hit or whatever, but excuse me. The way he hit that wall, like we've always seen cars in past, like usually when they hit the wall like that, a little bit of energy is dissipated, the rear tires come up off the ground, the car bounces back. I'm not saying those are necessarily great things, but I'm saying like the energy kind of goes somewhere. And it appeared when he hit the wall, the car just stuck in the wall. I mean, it was like a dart into a dartboard kind of. I don't know what that says about how hard the hit was, or what that means, how much of that hit was translated to the driver. But it just looked like the car just kind of like internalized all the energy once it hit the wall. Like it looks like it just hit the wall, stopped. You know, it is like it hit a concrete wall instead of a safer barrier.
Trying to find the picture of the next gen chassis. I think because we've seen this happen. Justin Haley was on DBC this past week talking about how his hit at the Coliseum earlier this year was probably the hardest hit of his career.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that was concrete barriers, but also still not good.
Bowman even had a comment after he hit the wall where he was like, "I don't know how this thing is still rolling. That's the hardest I've ever hit."
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find a picture of this so I can at least show you guys what I think, and it might not be correct. Don't claim to be an expert. But the way this next gen car is structured compared to in the sheet now, because issues.
Yeah.
But if you look at the front end, the way the front end is, you got some angles there that I think are kind of what's causing some of the issues that we're seeing this year. Talked about it, box tubing as a choice that was made for the front and rear clips. But I think a lot of what we've seen, those hits that have been really hard, like Austin Dillon and Atlanta, right? That hit looked terrible, but he seemed okay with it. Cody Ware's hit at a similar angle, but probably a little more rotated. So a little more with the car, a little more nosed in, because it wasn't flush with the wall, right? It wasn't perpendicular.
No.
He didn't hit the wall perpendicular head on. That's where you saw the issue. So if you kind of look at the way the car is, that geometry on the front end is, some of those chassis bars are probably hitting perpendicular. So that's
I was gonna say
it's all about energy transfer to the driver, and that's the scary part, right? And this is what we've talked about with next gen all summer. Anytime we hear or see or any driver say anything about a big wreck, that the way the chassis is built is troubling.
I never thought about it that way, because triangles are typically like the strongest basic shape you can make out of it, and the way they taper in towards the front does create kind of a triangular structure in the front. So that's probably might be onto something. I don't know.
Good.
It's not that it's no good, because again, when this car was designed, it was designed to be reusable.
Yeah.
And when you design for one thing, you have to give up some of another thing. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing the bad side of that this year. But again, don't claim to be an expert, but this is just what my intuition tells me. Thankfully, Cody got checked and released from the infield care center. I know it sounds like he's going to have to go through some protocols this week, and still has to get cleared by NASCAR doctors, but hope that he does. And
tell it jarred him, knocked the wind out of him more than likely.
Yeah.
That was a big one for sure.
Well,
That
and
was
then
pretty scary.
Careening towards pit wall too, right? Like that's a whole different thing. With that wreck, I would like to remind people that speculating about, hey, when are we going to see a driver die is not the way to go. I'm just going to say it bluntly like that. Do better.
Yeah.
I'm okay with drivers professing their fear or being scared of being hurt or dying in the car, but as a spectator, I don't think that's really our area to judge, because if these guys felt like they shouldn't be doing it, truly and honestly, with all the reasons that they have to and not to race, they're making the decision to get behind the wheel of the car. And continuing to drum up fear based off of when is somebody going to get really hurt, when is somebody going to die again, not the way to go. I understand the concern, but sometimes we don't need to vocalize the concerns that we all already kind of have when we're talking about motorsports.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is what we've talked about, where it probably stems from a frustration as a fan that, like, these ideas have kind of been floating around in the whole atmosphere of NASCAR for like a year, that there could be some safety issues. And now it's, again, we've had the same discussion like 8 times now this year, where it's like, now it seems like it's coming to head, and a lot of people, I bet, feel like that it's like, cool, nobody's been listening this whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe not the best way to express that.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry, I would have muted, but I want to talk. It's really frustrating to watch a lot of fans say things like, "Oh no, I'm not going to be able to watch Talladega without worrying if a driver gets a career-ending head injury and gets irreparable brain damage." It's like, what are you talking about? Shut up. Shut up. Don't say stuff like that. That's weird of you to say. You're a spectator in the sport. It's okay to be worried, but don't say stuff like that. That's 100% speculative. Everyone was talking about how bad Cody Ware was off. Like, everyone was talking about, like, oh man, like, obviously everyone hopes he's okay, but like, people saying stuff like, he's probably got a concussion. He probably must have broke his leg. Must have been this, must have been that. The dude hasn't even been cleared yet. Don't diagnose him with something that he doesn't have. Let the man get cleared. Let him do his thing. Don't speculate on him. Let him get better as he needs to get better. Don't put thoughts and words in the air. It just muddies the situation.
It's the same thing that happened on Sunday when I was at the BMX track, and literally 4th race of the day in one of the Pro-Am races, 2 girls collided at like full speed and hit the face, basically like hitting a wall. And they had to call an ambulance to take the one girl out, and people were like, "Oh my god, she probably like knocked herself out cold and everything." And I'm like, "Can y'all shut up? Like, she's literally still laying on the track. There's like 1,000 people here standing around. Maybe don't say this while it's like, oh, I'm about to go send my 6-year-old kid out there to race. Like, chill out."
Yeah, I've been lucky enough in my situations racing where if we've had a really big accident, there hasn't been any. It's usually been pretty respectful. Yeah, I'm really lucky for that, because excuse me, I can't imagine how drivers under the public eye must feel when fans are speculating like that.
Probably not good.
No.
And again, I get a lot of the frustration, right? Obviously, the killed the dummy. No, we didn't kill the dummy. All that type of stuff. The not knowing what kinds of tests are being run. The not, like... Sometimes you have to trust the people that know what they're doing and knowing what they're talking about, even if it doesn't look like they're making the right decisions. This car, and we're going to get into the other issues here, but this car itself, it's not something where you can tell all the teams to do something and they can just do it. The problem that you get into when you start getting more spec, as NASCAR has with the next gen car, is having a single source supplier means you only have one person building these things, and that one person only has a certain capacity for how much they can make at a time. So, with that being said, it's going to be hard for a company like Technique in North Carolina, Technique Chassis, to completely revise the chassis. Like, I think there are some things that need to be looked at and revised. It's not light switch on, light switch off type that I think a lot of people wish it was. I know there's a lot of people that know that. I know there's a lot of people that don't maybe realize that and think teams should just be able to make these fixes, because again, when you tell race teams that they can fix something, they're going to figure out a way to fix it and make it a little bit better, which is the worry that you have as a sanctioning body in NASCAR. That's why they don't want to do that.
Excuse me. It's very much relevant to what we're about to talk about.
Yes. So let's get into it. Chase Elliott crashes. Once again, gives away all of his points to open up the second round, the round of 12. He says it's a tire. He says it's a tire. It looked like all the tires were still up. He had a very sassy Chase Elliott interview.
It was unnecessary. It was quite sassy. It was a little.
It was a little unnecessarily sassy.
A little douchey. A little bit douchey.
I need you to 86 your attitude right now, bro.
But Chase's crash was a little weird because it was hard to tell if it was a tire. I mean, I'm going to take the driver's word that it was at the end of the day, but...
did he ever specify what tire it was?
Right rear. I'm pretty sure
right rear does not look down in this picture.
I understand that, and that's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
The thing I didn't like is that Marty Snyder's going over there asking him these questions, and I never like it when people are like rude to you for no reason. I think that's like the customer service experience in me. And I felt like Marty Snyder was just like the messenger in that case, because you had Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton up in the booth saying, "Oh yeah, they're hitting the bump, and that's what's causing them to get loose." Which is, again, Texas is a problem, but
also the replay, like every replay of that crash, even after the crash when the car had settled, the tires were all up.
Yeah,
I'm looking at a picture, 2 pictures of his car sitting in the grass right now, and left sides, those are definitely up.
Mm-hmm.
Right sides, it's a little smoky, but the right rear definitely looks up, and then the right front's in flames. So,
yeah, and I mean, he makes contact right front into the wall, so that's the incident where you can definitely tell it was a tire was Harvick's, because you see smoke and it's on corner entry, and it just has all of a tire going down because you see the back end bottom out. Kevin Harvick has been very vocal about this car in recent weeks. Along the lines of Denny Hamlin. And Denny's going to him on now on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw that today too, but...
Yep.
Wait, he's going what?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Goading him on.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
don't understand what you said. Okay.
Thought I said something bad. But Harvick lost a tire too. Couldn't find it. I don't remember if he did an interview. I couldn't find it if he did. But yeah, so that kind of brings us a total of all our incidents. By the end of the race, there was a lot of talk about, make sure you keep the tires on your cars. I raised the point that Goodyear, first of all, we're always going to blame Goodyear because of the 2008 Brickyard 400. I understand that. I don't know if this is one of those cases. I think it's too early to tell. Because if the failures aren't happening in the same way every time, then I find it hard to blame on Goodyear.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I agree, Mr. Tlansky.
Thank you.
I wonder what it would have been like if Twitter was around when like the 2005 Charlotte races happened.
Ooh, or the tire wars.
Yeah.
Would have been awful.
So,
excuse me.
Let's get into the nitty gritty of this. Rodney Childers had a tweet. Pretty good tweet. Folks, you should search out Rodney. You should follow Rodney because he's been doing this as of late, kind of some good stuff. And to sum it up, because I don't want to read it all because it was a good long note he took screenshots of to tweet out, but talking about how a lot of it is, in his opinion, a lot of it is the fact that NASCAR has put them in a box, and that the box is so small that it forces them to do things to get the back end of the race car down. They can get the back end of the race car down, they can generate more downforce, they can run quicker. That's what we saw last week at Bristol. All of a sudden, you saw the 6 car get really quick, and then he lost a tire. Also talks about, how Texas is part of the problem. Put some blame on the tires.
Let's rewind to the beginning. I want to talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Because what's Rodney's main argument, right? You can't get the optimum amount of downforce out of the rear bottom of the car. Okay. To do that, you have to let the air out of the tires.
Because you can't lower the springs enough.
And that's a good choice to do that if you want to get speed. If that's why you're blowing tires, this is where the argument gets muddy for me. This is where it starts to lose a little bit of the I'm concerned about the safety of the car and the tires, and I want to go faster than everyone else. This is where that comes in, because that is a BS excuse. That is so. I mean, he's right. He's not saying anything incorrect. He's not lying to us.
Mm-hmm.
But that excuse is, I want to go faster, but I can't go faster without wrecking the car. And that's not my fault. That's someone else's. And I think that's BS. I think that's ridiculous.
It's got a lot of the same energy as when they stopped checking people for lug nuts, and then teams were only hitting 4 and then complaining to NASCAR that we were having so many loose wheels. And it was like, then put all 5 on. Like, obviously, there's a performance advantage. Yeah. And it's they would miss one because they only glued 4 lug nuts on, and they'd be like, NASCAR's got to do something about this, and they're like, how about you put all 5 lug nuts on? We've done for 60 years.
We're only gonna have 3 laps left. All right, let's only put 3 lugs on.
Yeah. It and it also has the same. I forget if we talked about this a lot. I don't know if this was when I was sick. Last week was a blur. But Chase Elliott's interview about how it's tough to pass, and when you have cars that are all close together, and that makes them tough to pass. That cars that are all the same means it's going to be harder and harder to pass. It's like, no, you just can't blow by all the people you used to blow by on the basis of your car gets built in a different shop than theirs anymore. That's what that is, Chase. You just can't outrun them on the pure fact that your car comes out of a huge campus compared to the guys whose cars come out of a small building. I say small, but you know what I mean. Like, it's the same thing. It's just
harder
like, you
to pass Corey LaJoie this year than it was last year.
Exactly. You want to go faster, but you can't, because guess what? The regulations are there, so you don't go that fast, or find a different way, or you just can't, so deal with it. And it's like, well, I want to be able to do this because it'll make the car faster. It's like, well, what's the actual solution here? Is
it worth risking blowing a tire and hammering the wall and maybe giving your driver a concussion?
Apparently, because all you got to do is complain at NASCAR and all the fans eat it up.
Yep. I saw a couple people I don't remember who it was. I think it was just a couple people that I follow, basically calling him on his bull, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, it's frustrating because it's so self-serving,
So the race fan in me is right there with you guys.
Yeah.
The engineer in me is very frustrated because you've cut out a lot of innovation you're allowed to have. You've cut out the ability to make changes. And that's what's caused a lot of the parity, right? Like, that's why teams like the 43 have been so good this year, because you have a good race car driver, you have good enough equipment, you have good crew, you have a good crew chief, you have all the parts and pieces. Now the money being so much different isn't as big of an issue because Hendrick can only spend this much money on the car too. On the physical parts and pieces and capital. The problem that Rodney alludes to is that NASCAR has now given them less tools in the toolbox to make the car go quicker, and in their cost-benefit analysis, sometimes the cost of wrecking the race car seems to be worth a little bit of extra speed. I mean, do we think the 4 car has been doing this all year, and now they're just having issues when all of a sudden they're getting quicker? Like, are they creeping towards these things? Like, that's what you have to look at with some of these teams, right? Christopher Bell has an issue. What have we been talking about to start the playoffs? Christopher Bell has been really, really fast, really, really good. Not that he hasn't been good all year, but he's stepped up a notch.
Yeah.
These teams, as we've gone through the year, are learning more and more about this car, and it's what Rodney talks about. Hey, I can get the back end lower, my numbers get better, I can go quicker. It's fine. But NASCAR, in doing the rules and having things set the way they are telling you, hey, we don't want you to go past this point. It's the frustrating thing. It's the most frustrating thing is it's a lot of self-inflicted wounds that get reflected back on NASCAR, that get reflected back on Goodyear, which I would like to remind people how much you complained in the last couple of years about the tires not having any fall off, and now you're complaining about tires failing. And while those are two very different things, part of the reason the tires had no fall off was because Goodyear was afraid they would fail. So it's reinforcing that idea that they already have when they're going through their construction of these race tires. It's more than one thing, right? Texas is an awful racetrack, and we have talked about it so many times. And we are not going to get into that conversation because screw that. It's just talking into the void at this point.
Just search Texas Motor Speedway on Twitter, and then that's our take.
I pray to whatever God that there is that track does not get reconfigured into Atlanta, because good Lord, that would not be good for the sport.
No.
But
God, man.
It's just, I find it, the race fan in me finds it very hard to be like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And you're admitting that you're shooting yourself in the foot. And you're like, well, they gave me the gun to shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah.
But the engineer in me sees where the frustration's coming from, right? Because you have lost the tools.
We talked about that too, when this season started, is how a lot of these engineers are going to be frustrated because there's such a smaller box for them to work in with this car.
Well, now if I work for a race team, right? If I'm riding chillers, I've been working for race teams, I've been doing all this stuff my whole life. The knowledge that I have, it's still good knowledge, and there's a lot more than, knowing the X's and O's of, aerodynamics and all this fun stuff. But all this innovation I've done over the last 20 years, I don't get to be part of that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're all stuck with the same parts and pieces. And that's where I think a lot of the frustration comes from an engineering perspective, because now it's more like you're putting together a puzzle than, creating a work of art.
Yeah.
Or you can even look at it, instead of it being a 10,000 piece puzzle, it's a 1,000 piece puzzle or a 500 piece puzzle, however drastic you want to make that change. But
yeah, it is crazy to think about how hyper specific all of these race engineers' knowledge for oval racing is. Because I remember Dale Jr. said a couple years ago on the Dale Jr. download how weird the just stock cars are.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's it's basically the front clip of a 70s Nova and the rear axle from a 70s Chevy pickup. And that's what we've based our race cars around for 60 years, basically. Mm-hmm. And nothing else is like that in the racing world. Yeah.
So,
and this could lead to a lot of greater discussions on the state of the sport and all that stuff that we've had a million times before. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, this is what we got. So
yeah, it doesn't. The folks trying to say scrap the car need to.
Oh my God.
Stop. You can't go back.
Yeah, and let's just get rid of charters too while we're at it. So
yeah, let's get rid of the playoffs too.
Hundreds of millions of dollars lost because of that. So
let's get rid of the playoffs. Let's get rid of stages. Let's
just find 200 more Xfinity cars, and then we'll run those in Cup.
Yeah, come on.
That's how this works.
It's that easy. Just hire all those people you had to lay off. Just hire them back. Yeah. I'm sure they'd love to come back. Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to come back to the great job security that they obviously would feel like they have. Again, it's not a light switch. None of this is a light switch, and I think the rational people out there know that.
Yeah. Just make the car safer, forehead. It's not that hard.
Yeah, come on. Just put bubble wrap on it or something. Yeah. I don't know. But again, and this has been the fear I've had with this car all year, was the structure of it and the fact that teams were going to push something, and guess what? The easiest thing to push now is the tire pressures, and that's what they're doing. I don't know if anyone remembers the first Eldor truck race when guys were running literally 6 pounds of air in the tires.
I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's
Got that rock crawler setup going. There you go.
6 pounds of air. Goodyear, I think, was recommending like 12 or 13 as a minimum.
For reference, I run 50 in my BMX bike. So.
Oh, because it's about grip, right? It's about contact patch, but it's they're gonna push the issue and they're gonna complain when they wreck, and I think the complaints maybe should be coming again more from a safety perspective, because I can get on that boat a lot more than I can get on the boat of, well, the tires are failing, and that's not safe because, again, I don't see the trend, except for that they're all the same tire. Like, oh, they're all right rears, so that means something. It doesn't mean something if they all break a different way. If 3 break this way, 3 break that way, what's the actual trend? Now, if all 6 break the same way, that's where we start saying, okay, what's up? Or like, when all the Penske cars had issues last week at Bristol, it's like, okay, are we going to blame this on Goodyear, or do we blame this on Penske? Well, we probably blame it on Penske because there's something there. There's reason to believe that they have similar stuff there on that corner of the race car. So it's just shout out to people yelling at Goodyear. Dale Jr. on the podcast this last week, and we always bring up other shows. Talked about how we need to treat Goodyear well and we need to hold them accountable. And I think what he meant more along the lines is, hey, make a good racing tire. And I think Goodyear is in a hard position to make a good racing tire if fans keep complaining like they do about tire failures. So,
yeah.
I talked a lot there, and I apologize for it to you guys, to the folks at home, but it really angers the crap out of me because, like, there's a lot of parts at play. A lot of pieces to the puzzle. Get that orange juice. Get that vitamin C, baby. Anyways, Justin Marks also had some comments about how his budget has gone up by a factor of 10, which is crazy. And then, of course, you have the Denny Hamlin, the Kevin Harvick, the Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson had some comments Saturday talking on SiriusXM about how he races a little bit easier now in the Cup Series, knowing that he's running for an Xfinity title. So I thought that was interesting. But speaking of Denny Hamlin, we had a little kerfuffle with William Byron.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Denny ran Byron up the track, right? Off of 2. Byron ran him down the track going into turn 3 that same lap.
Yeah.
There's a caution. Caution had been out for about a whole corner and a half. And Byron just runs him over going down the front stretch, spins him through the grass. Initial thoughts?
Okay. Here's where it is. Wrecking people under yellow is weird. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It's not good. Don't do it. It's weird. Wrecking people under green's weird. Wrecking people under yellow's weird. It's weird. It's all weird. You don't know which safety trucks are coming out from pit road. You don't know which safety trucks are coming out anywhere on the racetrack. Do not assume because the cars are slowing down that it is okay to turn someone at any point. Because it's not.
Yep.
And it should have been a penalty. And it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm completely at a loss for it. Like, even as somebody who, we all know I don't like Denny Hamlin, but like, that was just idiotic by William Byron. Like, that is some Bush League level stuff. And I mean, the precedent, I mean, it obviously wasn't as blatant as Johnny Sauter, T-boning basically Austin Hill under yellow in a truck race a few years ago, but still, like, that's the precedent you set. Sauter got parked for a week, but Byron's probably gonna get away with it because
Byron drives for Hendrick, and is in the
HMS
playoffs.
driver.
Yep. So.
Imagine. I'm just thinking about
Imagine
all
if
the
it was
possible
Kyle
terrible
Busch
scenarios.
doing it to Chase Elliott.
or Denny doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's a lame thing to do under yellow at a track that is as fast as Texas. That far into a yellow flag again. I'm sure there are protocols. I'm sure like it's a very low chance that they could have hit like a safety vehicle or something like that. But the track is no longer hot. It is warm now. You don't do that. You don't do that. There are people other than you on the racetrack now. You cannot do that. I do not care. You don't do that. You don't hit them and say, "Oh, I was just trying to hit him." Like you were obviously
I gassed it up into the back
obviously
of
gonna turn
him.
'em.
Yeah.
I mean, NASCAR has made all these onboards public, and you
Yeah.
can literally hear him gas it up into the back of Denny. So
Didn't hit him square. Like it was obvious. But yeah. Just a bit lame. And a lot of people's reactions to it I was quite disappointed by as well. A lot of fans were really happy about it, and I was like, that's weird.
I thought
don't do
Byron
that.
showing some personality on the radio was fine.
The
And the
personality was
stuff
okay.
under green I thought was fine, but yeah, this
Yes.
this is where you step over that line, and you get away from like general sporting conduct, right?
It was like when he ran him down the track in the 3 right after he got in the wall. That was him like learning how to curse, and then when he turned him on the front stretch, that was when he used the F word for like the 3rd time too many, and his parents yelled
He
at
used
him
it
and
at
got mad.
school.
Except they didn't get mad. They were just like, "Don't
They're
do
like,
it."
William, we don't use that kind of language around here.
Well,
and
and
they
the
walked away
problem
and
there
shipped him off
is,
to Liberty.
I mean, NASCAR openly admits they don't watch TV. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So now we know why.
They're missing out.
Now we understand why FS1 gets away with their truck coverage. But sorry, I had to go for that one.
Pretty good.
I know.
Ooh.
I want to call BS on NASCAR's excuse for that. I just have a
yeah.
hard time feeling that
didn't
literally
see
nobody involved with race control.
We were
Now,
focused on
they saw it.
Truex.
They just don't care. No, we were focused on Truex, yeah, as it happened literally right after where Truex spun out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that Denny and his crew chief were yelling about it over the radio, and not a single official who monitors the radio thought, maybe we should look into that. Why was Denny Hamlin spinning through the grass? Man, that's crazy. Anyway.
The fact that NBC showed it like 7 times.
Yeah. I don't feel like making Joe edit anything out, but for our ASL viewers, that's what I think of it. So, yeah.
Oh, I get it. It's bullshit.
I don't even know if I want to believe. I'm gonna leave that one in.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite songs. So.
I'm gonna leave that
I'm
one in. I
sorry.
think that one's okay.
That one had to happen. I'm sorry. I apologize.
But yeah, it's frustrating. There should be some kind of penalty for it. You shouldn't do it. It just gives Denny Hamlin more fodder to talk about how NASCAR's against him, which is great.
Yeah, his Joker arc is becoming more and more solidified.
Which is fine. I mean, he has a right to be angry. He had a right to be angry at the All-Star race in June or May, whenever it was. God, whenever it was.
Why am I drawing a blank on what happened in the All-Star race too?
Ryan Blaney's window net went down, and they were like, "Oh, that's fun."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what we've learned is NASCAR in the state of Texas doesn't always make the best decisions.
No one.
You just shorten that to Texas, honestly.
Yeah.
Great decisions are not made in the state of Texas.
Excuse me.
How do you fix it? It's pretty simple. You just look at a replay.
Yeah.
The
Basically, that's
whole
really it.
saw a lot of people saying go to like the F1 style of incident under review, then you're gonna start getting.
Wait, can I do my impression of how NASCAR race control was probably looking at that?
Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, what? Truex is spinning? Hang on. There we go. Visual gags.
You were really waiting for that one, weren't you?
I came up with
That's
it literally
pretty
on
good.
the spot.
That's pretty
It
good.
was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Um,
Audio listeners aren't going to get that one, but
Yeah.
it's good.
He was looking at his phone, and then when he said Truex spun out, he quickly got the remote and changed the lights in his room to yellow. There you go, audio listeners. I got you.
Cody Ware just wrecked.
Oh, red flag. It's raining. It's raining. We gotta take an hour break real quick.
Yeah,
No, he's going to say, no, you got to set it to green. There you go.
Oh wait, yeah, and
It's raining,
we're back
it's
to
green.
racing.
No,
Yep.
they went to caution. They went to caution before it really started raining, and they've
Well,
been doing
yeah,
this since
because-
Daytona. But hey, I'm
Yeah.
good with
Back to
it.
racing.
Make that the precedent. do it. I don't care. That's a lot better than, again, Daytona. And then
slow car.
they don't use that flag. Ty Gibbs did a really dumb thing on pit road. I don't
That
know
could've
if you
been
guys
bad.
want to dunk on Ty Gibbs at all. I've seen a lot of people doing it. Wanted to give you the opportunity to if you wanted to, but
Just when you start to like the kid.
Ty Gibbs hits Ty Dillon on pit lane, just going straight down pit road, just like
Doored
tries
him towards the pit
towards
wall.
the pit wall.
Towards a
With
pit crew that
crews.
was working on a car.
Yeah. So the Ty Gibbs, I don't care about crew people arc has more
Yeah.
evidence.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know why he did that. That's also dumb. They won't penalize him, but it's
Yeah.
pretty stupid. They should.
They said they're looking at it, actually.
Good. They better. They better look at it. They
Scott
better
Miller
penalize
said
him.
they're
They
looking at
should-
that, and they're looking at the Byron stuff now. So,
Honestly, he should be parked for a week. Like there's literally no place for that.
well, they're not going to park him for a week because
yeah,
then
they're
they
not going to, but
they
they
have to
should.
park him for Xfinity.
So.
Park him for the Cup race next week. Oh boy.
Yeah. Eventually, they're gonna have to do something about him because it's out of control. It's,
Honestly,
like,
if you're
absurd.
Ty Gibbs, or like, do you even want to run the Cup race at Talladega? And I guess you do, right?
yeah,
You're gonna have a hard time finding a driver to fill that seat.
yeah,
Kurt Busch.
Parker Kligerman. Triple header.
Get into it. So that was the Cup race, and that's probably the longest we've spent on the Cup race ever. Clocking in at about 38 minutes. So
we
Tyler
didn't
Reddick
even
won.
mention. Yeah, we didn't even mention that Tyler Reddick won.
Yeah, he won. That's really it.
Honestly,
Talk about
if there's ever been a race that felt like nobody won, it was this one.
but Tyler Reddick won, and kudos to him and his whole team for continuing to try to win, because it'd be really easy for everyone on that team to quit right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess. Noah Gragson won the Xfinity race.
Fourth straight ties the record with Sam Ard for most consecutive Xfinity wins.
Mr. September himself, Noah Gragson.
no, Harry Gant Gregson.
There
He
was
didn't puke this time. He
didn't
wasn't
puke.
covered in vomit. So
It's a true
baby
point.
steps.
He probably didn't have to hold his breath at Texas because he was probably just coasting. Because I'm pretty sure half the field was coasting in that race after the big wreck off of turn 2,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was nutty.
where Justin Allgaier said, "Hey, let me take this 4 wide."
To be fair, this is me. Matt, you're gonna like me right now.
Okay.
To be fair, Justin Allgaier, John Hart Nemechek was getting loose before Justin Allgaier
Oh no, yeah.
stuck his nose in there.
Yeah.
But Justin Allgaier definitely could have backed out of that and not caused a huge ass wreck.
That's
Like
been
he
like
definitely is the reason they got bigger. 100%.
as a longtime fan of Justin Allgaier, that is a recurring trend where it was like, dog, you could have just backed off there.
Like 100%, he could have backed off, and that wreck could have been one person big.
Yeah.
Instead, stuck his nose in there, got collected the rest of the field behind him. But that was big.
Yeah, not his crowning moment.
Texas sucked. Let's move
Yeah.
on. No one likes Texas.
It's
No one
very
likes Texas.
sweaty.
No one likes Texas. It all sucks. None of it's good. Excuse me. Jimmy Johnson.
Yep. Speaking of
Jimmy
Texas,
Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. That's where he got a really good finish earlier in the year.
Yeah, he
Remember?
used to be really good there.
That too.
In the Cup Series.
And then they reprofiled it.
Sad.
He's retiring from full-time racing. I think it's probably a good thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any need for him to run IndyCar full-time.
Doesn't have to prove anything to anyone.
No.
Yeah.
He went got a couple really solid finishes on the ovals. Ran really well in Indy 500 qualifying.
I think that's a
Which is
race he does next
notoriously-
year, right?
Notoriously hard to
More
do.
than
I
likely.
would believe so. Yeah.
I think he runs the double.
I'm sure there's discussions being had.
Yeah,
I know.
I could see him. Obviously, he kind of hinted at doing the All-Star race next year, North Wilkesboro.
He also hinted at doing the Chicago Street Race.
That'd be cool. He should show up to the Clash too. That'd be pretty cool. Go race in the Coliseum. Yeah.
Can run that Spire car. That'll be a Hendrick car.
Yeah. True.
Get Chad back on top of the
Yeah.
box.
Good career though for old Jim Jam. It pisses me off of the revisionist history. Everybody's like, he sucks because he had like 2 bad years. And it's like, yeah, okay, Bill Elliott went 7 years without winning a race, and y'all suck
You
him
just
off
made
still.
Davey so happy.
So.
Unless he's puking. He's pulling a Gregson.
I was going to say, he's celebrating so hard from me praising Jimmy Johnson that he's puking, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. Oh, Bristol. That's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
I hope he gets to do a lot of those bucket list events. Sounds like he wants to do Le Mans, which would be cool to see him do, especially if he was part of that Garage 56 entry. Because we all know that I'm pretty sure that race will be during the Cup Series season, so no Cup Series drivers will be able to do it. Good job, NASCAR.
Yep. 10
unless,
out of 10 planning.
Unless it is that off weekend. I don't know when Le Mans is next year.
I think, didn't they announce the driver lineup of it?
Garage 56 thing?
Yeah.
No.
I thought they did. Hang on.
I'm assuming Jeff Gordon's going to be in it.
I could have swore it was Gordon Johnson, one of the Taylor brothers, and somebody else.
I didn't see that.
No. Maybe it's just speculation.
Sounds like a Rolex 24 DPI lineup.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, good for Jimmy.
Yeah.
He can step away and do all this fun stuff. Davey is not back yet, so I'm gonna take a second to remind you folks that
he just said, "Excuse me, I just got throat punched by air or something." So.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Producer Bristol is very concerned right now. Would like to remind you guys, now we got Auto Sim 2 coming out here as part of our JTN family pretty soon. Again, Auto Sim, the original Auto Sim is a text-based racing simulated game. Auto Sim 2 is even better than that. You can sim through 3 Premier Motorsports. The demo is launching later on this week for free. You'll get 10 years of free play in the demo, and if you are a donator on the Auto Sim Patreon, you will get a 30-year demo and also a copy of the game once it comes out. Again, that's Auto Sim 2. Going to be available later on this year on Steam. Auto Sim 2. Go check it out. We got the commercial up on the main JTN channel where you can find all of the great links and whatnot to find out more about, again, Auto Sim 2. Good little project we got going on over there. Davey is back. Davey, did you have anything else about Jimmy to say?
He's the best stock car driver that ever lived. If you disagree, kick rocks, go be a dweeb somewhere else. I don't want to see you. Sorry about that. I had something invisible inject itself into my throat, and I just my throat said, "Hey, you're gonna cough a lot, or you're gonna throw up if you don't cough a lot. So you better cough a lot." And I was like, "Okay," and then I coughed a lot in the kitchen.
Okay.
And then I'm making myself a cup of coffee because I need something warm and I don't have any more tea.
Fair enough. Let's go ahead and look ahead at Talladega. Second race of the trucks, round of 8. Who we got in the truck series? Davey's got
Parker Kligerman.
Not Ryan Preece.
Parker Preece.
Kligerman. Okay. All right.
Let me look at the entry list.
I'm gonna take.
Life is good regardless.
I'm gonna take Grant Enfinger.
Good old Grant on Fongle. I'm gonna go with oh my gosh, this is tough. You know, I'm feeling stupid. Give me Matt DiBenedetto.
I will say Ryan Preece is going to be really good in the truck series race, though. I once again will not let it go that he is a really good super speedway driver. He's going to find his way to the front in that car, or that truck, I mean.
Xfinity.
Parker Kligerman.
Give me Sheldon Creed.
Austin Hill.
Hey.
And the Cup Series. Do we go 5 non-playoff drivers in a row? Because I know
Justin Haley.
I know there's a technicality there with Reddick. He was in the playoffs, but not. So I don't know what people.
Not driver when he won.
Okay.
All right.
That's where I am too. But
Justin Haley, we didn't talk about it. Justin Haley, really good run at Texas, finished 3rd.
Yeah, there were a lot of good. Jones had another good run. Brad Keselowski got a top 10. Chase Briscoe got a top 5. Good run for
Doesn't
him.
happen
Yeah.
often.
It does not.
Who do I want here? Give me. I'm staying stupid. Harrison Burton.
It's a good pick. Good pick.
Ran decent at Texas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take good old number 12 Ryan Blaney.
I thought you were gonna go number 6.
No, but I would really like it if Brad would win, because that would be pretty cool. I'd be pretty happy, because then, despite it looking like all year my 3 favorite drivers weren't going to win a race, and then they all win a race in the playoffs after it not really meaning too much in terms of championship, that would be great. That's the show for this week, though, folks. We can't thank you enough, as always, for listening, watching, whatever you do to help support us. We appreciate it so much. Davey is going into the robotic void. There we go. But I cannot thank you folks enough for watching, as always. Do you guys got anything you want to shout out before we go?
I want to give a shout out to Zach Greinke, my new favorite baseball player.
Okay.
Nothing's coming to mind, unfortunately.
Check out Oofsides here on JTN2.
Yeah, that.
Week 1 did awesome. And then what happened?
Why you gotta be negative, Joe?
I'm not being negative. I'm just stating facts. Where's the love for Oofsides, man?
I don't know.
We need some more love on the Oofsides.
People watched the first episode and they're like, "Oh, it's always gonna be like this." Okay. It doesn't get better.
Jesus.
No, it's a pretty good little show to listen to. Where you got Matt, you got Dewey, you got Garrett on there.
Jack sometimes.
Jack for 1 episode.
When he has power, he's on the show.
So go
PG&E.
go check that out. Disqualified, hopefully come in at some point. Episode 4, 3, 4.
Oh, sorry. I was completely zoned out for a second. Episode 4. So
Yeah.
I have a script that's like partially done. So when I have time,
Yeah.
it'll be back. So
Yeah. Well, he's big time BMX racer now, so
yeah. I'd be sponsored.
I appreciate you also doing the episode tonight and foregoing watching your Cowboys play.
I mean, it's a purely painful experience to watch the Cowboys right now. So
Okay, all right. As long as you're good with it. Well, folks, we cannot thank you enough for watching, listening, whatever you do to help support us here on JTN, JTN2. Again, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, do all those things. We appreciate it so much. You can follow the Fake Racers podcast at Fake Racers on Twitter, where your boy Davey Hazard puts together some fire posts. So check those out. Check out at Johto Network on all our other social media. Cannot thank you folks enough for watching, as always, and we'll see you guys next week right here on the Fake Racers podcast.